Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler Sinden. We're both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our own businesses, and our goal is to share our experiences and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Strap in. Oh, that one was a little bit tougher with the old fat tooth.
I was going to say you stumbled a little bit.
Fat lip, fat tooth, same thing, whatever. Yeah.
Is this the first podcast since you did that?
Yep. For those of you people that don't know, I got high sticked in men's league hockey last week, and I cut my lip open, had a stitch. The stitch is out. I got that yesterday. So if I'm fumbling with my words a little bit today, that's what it's from.
Excuses, my man.
Excuses. Can't be getting high sticked, Jim.
No, you cannot.
I hear you.
How you been doing?
Not too bad. Actually pretty good. It's been a good week since the last time we filmed. Had a couple meetings, a couple things I want to go over. I suppose I'll just get into them and then we can go into anything that's new with you, yeah?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
All right. Alrighty then. We're talking about Ace Ventura quotes before we start recording. So one thing I want to touch on that's new on my end is, I can't remember if we touched on this last week, but the new meeting strategies and the new way I was going into meetings. I think I touched on it a little bit, but it's the 3-call close. So basically what the 3-call close looks like is you have first a discovery meeting, a strategy meeting, going over what are the client's goals, what do they value, what does a successful 2023 year look like to them, what happens if they don't do any of video work at all, and really diving in and figuring out what do they need this year and how can I provide them the most value. Previously, when I was doing this, I would ask some questions here and there. Sometimes I would ask more, sometimes I would ask less. And I really wanted to focus on making the sales process in these meetings look pretty identical in getting information. So I've had four or five of those meetings since we had this conversation last week, and every single one of them has went super well and have gotten really good feedback. And I think that it's a good way to be going with the meetings. And then the second part of these, the second part of the 3-call close is let me restart that. The second meeting of the 3-call close is the pitch meeting. So I'll go in there with 3 pitch decks. One that's around the budget they say, another one that's maybe a little bit above the budget that, you know, they might be willing to go on because it's not that much more. And then the third one is what I call the Hollywood package, which is pretty much full on, let's do everything we can. And then after that, if they pick whatever package works best for them, which on my end, I don't really care, because as long as they're picking one of the packages, it makes sense for me no matter what. Just depends on how much work I'm doing. Obviously, everyone wants a Hollywood package, but then you schedule the agreement meeting after that, or if they want to agree on the spot. And that's pretty much going over the contract saying, hey, here's what we're doing. We talked about last meeting. And then you get their pen on paper and you've got them closed as a client for that year rather than just working a bunch of one-off meetings. So that's really the big thing I wanted to touch on this week. That's what I've been working on lately. Do you have any questions about all that nonsense I just threw at you, Tyler?
I'm kind of excited for you to, I don't know if you will or not, but it would be really exciting to see you close one of your Hollywood packages, to see everything that you do and the whole shebang. Yeah,
I'm excited for that too. And I think some of these Hollywood packages, I'm keeping them attainable. So it's not completely out of the blue. Like, it's not $100,000 a year, but it is the highest package that I am pitching these people. And I think there's a couple that might go with it. Really, I want to keep it there as almost like not a low hanging fruit, but it's like, man, we would have to figure some stuff out to be able to go with that package, but we really think it's going to be worth it. So in the next couple weeks, I'll know. I don't know. Well, by the time next week, I'll know on one of them for sure. By the time we film next week's episode, but yeah, I'm excited to see how the rest of these meetings go.
Are they full year-long packages, or is it just one project with a bunch of different deliverables, the scope of it? What's the difference between them?
So I'm giving a couple different options, but all of them revolve around your 2023 plan. So I want to look at it more as a, hey, here's 12 months. What can we accomplish in the next 12 months rather than, hey, here's one package. So I know the one I'm putting together right now, the first package is a year-long thing, but it's not monthly content. So it's, hey, we're going to shoot 4 videos this year, and then you're going to get this many clips from those videos to be posting. So maybe we shoot the first one in the first quarter, next one in the second quarter, whatever it might be, whatever that breakdown looks like. And then the other ones are monthly retainers, except I pitch them as year-long contracts, because before, when I pitch month-long retainers, it's hard to tell someone, hey, pay me $5,000 a month, where it's maybe a little bit easier to say, hey, this package is going to cost you $30,000 this year, but here's what you're getting. So I think looking at it from a year standpoint, the clients are taking it a little bit better, or maybe I'm just pitching it better. But yeah, I'm focusing every package and meeting I go into as a 2023, a 12-month, year-long thing.
So are these year-long retainers, are they all pay at once, all pay up front, or is it installments throughout the month, or how do the payments go? If they do choose, like, say, the Hollywood package, can you say, let's do monthly installments, because they might not have all that upfront cash?
Yeah, I haven't figured out the payment installments yet. I think I'm either going to go monthly or on a quarterly basis. So, once every 3 months. But I think I'll give them the option, whatever they prefer to do, and then just rock and roll with that. But I don't want to offer them. I mean, I guess I could offer them a lump sum. Like, hey, if you pay everything up front,
give them like a couple $1,000s off or so.
Yeah, you get 10% off. If it's a $30,000 package, we'll do $27,000.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good strategy. And then I think it's a good strategy for them to choose that one. And I don't know if you're going to be doing it on every single one of them, but say if you are only doing it on the Hollywood package, you could be like, if you pay everything up front, then it entices them to go with the Hollywood package a little bit more. And they're also paying you up front, so you get that cash right away.
Yeah, and I think cash flow is king. And I know Alex Ramosi talks about that in his podcast, where he talks about just generating cash flow and then doing the work after that.
Mm-hmm. I think that could be a good strategy and potential selling point. So maybe you will throw that in there or do something like that.
Yeah, I'll have to figure it out, and I'll feel it out. I'll probably offer it for the first meeting, see how it goes, and then adjust as I go from there. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the new meeting strategies. It's been going well. And the second thing I want to talk about, I obviously have the My Not Business podcast, where I interview business people. And as I was in Bismarck for a couple meetings, I was driving back thinking, how do I start, if I want to start expanding into different cities and potentially different states? Maybe there's a podcast I can start in Bismarck that's, the Bismarck Business Podcast. Or do you rebrand the My Not Business Podcast as the North Dakota Business Podcast? So that's something I was spitballing. I haven't thought a ton about it, but if I want to start having clients in these places, really I have to start with meeting the people that would be the clients.
Yeah. I saw on the notes North Dakota podcast, and I'm like, what's this man going to be? Just the man that starts 500 podcasts, and he's just the podcast host and
the podcast
starts
man.
a whole. Yeah. So I mean, if you are rebranding My Not Business Podcast to North Dakota, I think that helps with scaling and then meeting new people. And then I feel like people would talk, and all these business professionals, they all know each other. They all talk and be like, hey, I was just on this guy's podcast, and maybe it generated him some business and some following, and then they'll start sharing that with other people, and then it's just going to be a more snowball effect. And I think that could potentially really help you. So I don't know if it's rebranding the My Not, or if it's just being the podcast man and starting all the podcasts.
Yeah, and I don't know if I would want to. I'd have to have a team behind me if I wanted to start, the Fargo Business Podcast, the Bismarck Business Podcast. But I think if I brand it as the North Dakota Business Podcast, it makes it a little bit easier for clients to come on knowing that I live in Minot currently. Whereas if I started the Fargo Business Podcast and it's hosted by a man in Minot, it might look a little bit weird. And then I spitballed the idea of just having someone I know in Fargo host them, and then it's just presented by Bennett Creative Media. But then I'm not really making that connection.
Yeah. It depends if you're building out your business and it becomes like BCM and you're serving all of North Dakota, which you kind of do already. But I think if you are building out a team, and then maybe you say you got a bunch of people underneath you, then you got some co-hosts, and then maybe you're paying them, and then you also have editors, podcast hosts, videographers, and well, maybe you're always like the director, but at the same time, you can't duplicate yourself and be at every single project if there is multiple projects in one day.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's the goal, is to have a statewide company, whether that be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Who knows when we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely an option that I think is, and it's easy because I already know what I'm doing, and it's an easy way to get into these markets.
best media company in North Dakota.
Damn right. Put it on a billboard.
Start working with the big companies.
Exactly. So, Tyler, on your end, do you have anything to chat about? Update us on.
Yeah, so I think last week was the week that I said we were supposed to film the videos about us in the Movember, and then you were helping us out with that, but Riley was sick, and it ended up being a good thing. I don't think I did say this, but I think it ended up being a really good thing because we ended up meeting later, and then we started talking about Nuevo and the direction we want to go and what we want to sell and everything. And I think that meeting changed a whole lot for our business. We changed like the direction, and we tried to find different passion because I think there was a disconnect between him and myself and with the company as well. I just don't think we had that passion behind it. And we started brainstorming stuff, and we're going in a direction that's actually going to be that we can actually like get behind and support. We get fired up about, whereas before it was just like, there's not really that passion, that burning sensation that we get when we talk about it. But now we were coming up with new ideas, and I think we're going to be going on in a good direction. So I think him missing it actually turned out to be something really good, because that about video that we would have filmed before that meeting, it would have been completely different than what it's going to be now. So I think it ended up being really good. And I just really like the direction that we are going right now. I don't know if it's just like a meeting and then we got all excited about it, but I think we started doing a lot of stuff too. So I'm pretty excited where we're going to be going and what we're planning on launching coming up. And I think there's going to be a lot of like planning that we need to go into on how we're going to launch it and just how we're going to market it and try and get it out to people. So we'll see how it goes.
Is there a generic idea that you can give us or information that you can give us about what that thing is? The ideas you guys were throwing around, what kind of switched it from not being passionate to now you're passionate?
I want to not say, just so it like drives that interest, and then someone's like, I really want to know. But I think we already had it, but we want to get more behind it. And our slogan's like, be your best. And we want to basically just have a company, and that's what it resembles, where we're trying to go out, and we're currently only targeting males and probably like 20 to 30 year age range, but like obviously you can be outside of that, but it's becoming the best version of yourself. And that's what we want to do, is trying to help them actually become the best version of themselves. And with our current products, we aren't really able to get there. And I think that that's where the disconnect was. And it's just coming up with like programs and just other ideas. I don't really want to give it away yet, but it's just the branding behind it now is trying to help other people become the best version of themselves. So I guess that's kind of where it's at.
No, I mean, I think that's good enough, and it leaves us some interest into what's going to be what you can reveal in the next couple weeks. Other than that, is there anything new on your end?
No, I feel like we've been off to a good start. I don't know if it's just because new year, new us, and we're just trying to be pumped up and try and do shit. But I think we're both doing a lot of good stuff so far. And I think I'm liking where we're going. I'm liking all the activities that we've been doing. I think you bought a program. I don't know if you closed on it yet, but you were saying that you did. And I think that's helped you out a lot. And I think we've just been doing a lot. And I think we're going off to a good start.
No, I agree. I think we're both off to a hot start. I can't remember if I touched on the program last week, but it's a video business agency. I can't even remember what the acronym is for. Something, the guy pretty much teaches how he's working with his clients to better close higher end deals, essentially. It's not teaching the technical skills of filmmaking. It's more the business side of things. And honestly, just through the first like Zoom call I had on the program, I learned a lot. And I think that's where I got this strategy for all these meetings. And it's really that mindset shift of what's allowed me to do what I've been doing the last couple weeks and how I'm viewing the business. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big advocate of where we're headed, and I'm excited for especially this podcast in the next year. So yeah. With that being said, yeah, I like this podcast. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I enjoy it.
I like it too.
with that being said, we can get into this week's business, or not business topic, but this week's episode topic. And we're going to be talking about working in your business. We're going to be talking about working. It's that fat lip, man. We're going to be talking about working in your business versus on your business, which is a good topic for this week because that's a lot of what I've been dealing with lately. I don't know if you've been dealing with it on your end a little bit, but we're going to dive into it.
Well, for us, we do both. So we're constantly in and on. So we're trying to push it forward.
Yeah. And I think that's before we really get into what we mean by that. I guess we can kind of get into it, but working in your business versus working on your business in the beginning, when you are doing a startup, I think you have to, well, I know you have to work in your business because there's no one else there to do it. You have to be doing every single task. You have to be working on the client projects, working on your own projects while also managing everything and doing the high-end executive vision, whatever you want to call it, that is on your business. So really in the beginning, there's no way around it. You have to work in your business a ton. And I'm still working in my business, but it's really that mindset shift. So go ahead, Tyler, before I get into the premise.
I think you can get around it to be working on your business instead of in, but this is typically only if you're coming in with a lot of capital up front and you already have that money generated. Whereas if you're coming in fresh, you don't really have that money. You're not going to be buying a team. Whereas like if you have that money, you can buy a team and then you can just stick to on the business instead of in the business. But I think at the same time, starting in and on your business, you're doing all the processes. So you're knowing everything in your business, so you know how it works. Especially, so the good thing about that is once you get to the top and once you are able to grow it, you know how the very basics of your business works. You did it and you lived it for years or however long you were doing it. So I think there's a good side to working in and on your business, especially just starting out.
Yeah, there's definitely benefits to working in your business in the beginning. Like you said, I think Gary Vee mentions you have to be knowledgeable in every aspect of your business to when you eventually get to the point where you can work on your business, you know what they're talking about. You know what the managers are dealing with. You know what the people that are actually doing the tasks are dealing with. And starting in your business, working all the systems, the CRM, dealing with clients, the actual, in my case, video editing software. Yeah, everything. You have to know how to do it all. So then you are empathetic to the people that are actually doing those tasks now.
Yeah, exactly.
So working in your business, I like to think of it as execution. When you're executing the day-to-day tasks that need to be done, things that are moving the needle on the projects, or if it's retail, you're actually fulfilling the product, you're shipping it out, whatever it might be. Whereas working on the business, I look at it as the higher thinking. So brand strategy, marketing strategy, product development, executive meetings on bringing on new team members, whatever it might be. Whereas in the business would be the client work, the management, all those small tasks. Would you add anything to that, Tyler?
No, I'd just like to say, thinking about this right now, it's making me think that I think breaking it out to working in versus on is a really good idea to do, because I like to think and compare myself to these really higher up people, say like Ed Mylett, Elon Musk, or whatever. And I like to think, what are they doing on a day-to-day basis? And what they're doing on a day-to-day basis is going to be completely different than what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, because I'm just starting out. I'm going to be doing a lot of those in the business tasks, and those in the business tasks is going to be slowly snowballing its way forward and building it up to the point where I can be the person like Ed Mylett or like Elon Musk, where they're working on the business. So I think breaking it up, just so I've never done this before, but I think I might start doing it just so I know that I'm actually doing something where it's like, this is the stuff that's in the business and it's getting me to the point where I can be on the business.
Do you think you're going to break it up into like, okay, half my day I'm going to work in, half I'm going to work on? Because I know when I would get super busy with client work, I would lose track of if I'm even moving the needle on growing the business, because it's like, okay, I've had to work on 15 projects this week. I haven't even done anything to work on the business at all. Whereas now my mindset has shifted to, let's focus on the business first. In the business task, they'll get done because they need to get done, but really prioritize working on the business.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't really say that I would break it up like 50-50, like this is what I have to do, this is what I have to do. I think it's just figuring out and knowing and understanding that this is working in the business and this is going to get the ball moving forward. And then once you're able to do those tasks, then have those meetings like meeting with Riley every now and then to talk about the strategy and the direction that we want to go. And like we might just have a call here and there. And I think that's obviously working on the business and coming up with brand strategy, marketing, what we want to do and moving forward. And then it's just whenever it comes up, I feel like it. But it right now, the most important thing for us is getting stuff done, which is mainly working in the business.
Yeah. And that's, you know, there's nothing wrong with that either, because there are times when you have to get stuff done, especially on my end. If a video project is due by the end of the week, that's priority number one. But now, and I'm actually just thinking this now that we're talking through it, going about working on, I should be waking up, and I'm going to wake up and think, you know, what do I need to do today to grow the business? And then when I do have the in the business tasks, whether that be a video edit or a strategy sheet that I need to put together for a client, those can be the tedious tasks that I'm just doing when I need to get them done. So if you almost look at it as, okay, you need to clean your kitchen, right? Eventually I can just clean my kitchen. I'll turn my brain off and clean my kitchen. Whereas the on the business work, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll get after it. Okay, how am I going to pitch this meeting? How are we going to grow the business? What are some ideas that we can do around this? How can we structure these meetings? Focus on that and make that a priority versus the tedious tasks you're doing down the road.
Yeah. Do you have, I feel like for you, the way you're going to be able to get to more of on the business is you get into that point where you hire employees. Have you made any progress with that? I know you're still early in your interview processes with your clients. So I feel like somewhere down the line after you're interviewing and vetting your potential clients, you'll have a better idea of your revenue for the year.
Yeah. And that's a conversation I had yesterday. I had a meeting with someone that decided they're comfortable with $14,000 to about $22,000 for the year. So he had the conversation. We had the conversation about me needing help eventually and hiring editors, whatever it might be. And he said, my one piece of advice to you would be to hire before you need it. And then I let him continue to talk. And he said, if you hire at the very peak when you need this, things are going to get way worse. You're going to have to train that person. They're not going to know how you want to work together. You need to get into a little bit of a flow before you actually need them doing all this work. So it really made me think about, when do I want to start this process? And there's someone that I know that will be here for the summer that I can potentially push some work to. And I've already sent her a message saying, hey, here's kind of the situation. I'll let you know how things go. But how I'm looking at it right now, like you said, is I want to give the next couple weeks to have these meetings, these discovery calls, figure out what my clients need and what they're wanting to spend in 2023. Once I get their signature on paper and I know, okay, I have $125,000 coming in for sure, then I can look and plan a little bit into the future on, okay, what do I need to fulfill these projects?
Oh, this was another question that I had when I completely forgot what I was going to ask, but is there something in the contract that they can like back out, or like once they sign the contract, it's like done for the year or whatever? Like, is it set in stone?
Yeah, not generally. Usually you're kind of locked in for 12 months and then here's the payment plan. Here's what we're going through. If a client came to me and said after 4 months, hey, like we really can't make this work, we have to stop, I'm not going to say, screw you, you owe me another $20,000.
Yeah.
But, you know, generally the contracts say we're committed for 12 months. We're going to do this for 12 months. But if there's a situation that arises, which that's never ideal, you give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Fair enough.
One other thing I want to touch about working on the business versus in the business. In the beginning, this is where a lot of people talk about the grind. You know, you got to grind, where you might not have the privilege of working on the business for 6 hours a day. So you might have to work 12 to 14 hours a day. And then when you're working in the business for 10, then you'll have those extra 4 hours to work on the business. So in the beginning, you do have to grind. I know the hustle mindset and the hustle culture is sometimes toxic, but you know, there are going to be times when you have to put in a lot of work. And sometimes you just have to free up time for yourself.
Yeah. You can go back and listen to our hustle culture episode. I forget what episode number it is, but you can go back and listen to that.
Plugged. We just
I'm
plugged
trying to
it.
find it right now at the same time, but it's not going well.
I'm going to guess it's 13.
13. I must have missed it. Okay. Do you want to move on?
Yeah. Yeah. But once you find it, tell me, because I kind of want to know now.
Yeah, I will.
So transition. We want to talk a little bit about the transition from moving from working in your business to on your business. God, that's a lot. It's such a tongue twister to say, especially when you have a fat lip. So in to on, when do you know you should do it? So when I realized, I'll just talk about my personal experiences. I realized that I was basically an employee for myself. Yeah, I had a business. I was a business owner, quote unquote, but really all I did was create a job for myself. So instead of going to work for an employer, it's like I just created a job that I have to work, but it's for myself. So that's when I realized, I'm like, how do you become more of a business owner, quote unquote, this hypothetical person that runs and maintains a business instead of just someone that has a business that works in it?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? You know, the transition. When would someone maybe know that they need to transition into more of an on the business type person?
I think it goes back to what you were saying about hiring that first employee when or any employee at that, you're hiring them before you're actually ready so you can work them up and then train them. And I think that's when it starts to get to that point where you can start working on your businesses once you start hiring people out, hiring different positions like social media marketer, like people that are implementing all the day-to-day tasks that need to get done. That's when you can start moving up. You can't really do it unless you're creating more time in the day and you have the secret formula. But other than that, I think it's once you start building up that team, and then it allows you to, maybe you enjoy working in your business and that's what you like to do. And then you hire the people above you and then they work on your business and they basically just tell you what to do. So I think it can go either way, to be honest. It just depends on what you prefer and what you like doing.
Yeah. And one thing that I've found to get to those points, at the beginning, I was really overwhelmed with tasks. I was like, man, I have so many things I have to do. I never have time to work on my business. And the way around that is that you have to raise your prices. Whatever it is, raise your prices, because if you don't, you can only trade so many hours a day for money. So if you only have 10 hours in the day, you can only work for 10 hours before you're like, well, shit, I can't work anymore, so I can't make any more money. Whereas if you start raising your prices, yeah, you might lose a few clients. But what I like to tell people is 10 clients at $100 is the same as 2 clients at $500. So to free up more time for you to work on your business and to free up more brain power to work on your business, you need to start working with those higher end clients and raising your prices.
Yeah. Yeah. I think at the same time too, when you are raising your prices, that just means that you're also increasing your quality and your experience at the same time. You can increase your prices, but I think at the same time, if you're increasing your prices, you're going to be compared to these higher level people. And it's like, I could have paid someone else the same amount of money and they do it 100 times better than what you charge for this. So you got to make sure that your quality is also going up with your price as well.
And generally the demand follows, where if you do have a full schedule and no one is saying no to your prices, you're probably too cheap. Everyone thinks they're getting a deal with your work. So you want to have a little bit of pushback in your pricing when you are talking to clients or selling a product, if it's in your case, because if everyone buys, that means you're missing a little bit of the market to have those higher end clients.
It's funny you say that because Riley just finished his other unit in his duplex or apartment or whatever it is, townhome, and he listed it on Airbnb, and he listed it a little bit low, no cleaning fees, whatever, just because it's just listed and he wants to get reviews. So he had a few discounts, and if you book now, whatever. And I think he said within 20 minutes, someone booked it. And then the next day, two people booked it for like 3 months.
3
because
months.
he's listing it. Yeah, I think they're fairly close to a school, and they booked it because of the school. So yeah, I think he listed it a little bit low, and someone capitalized on it. They saw it and they're like, oh man, this is too good to be true.
But at least he's getting the income now, though. He's got people locked in there for 3 months.
That's what I said, because he's been working on that unit for probably close to 2 years now. And I'm like, it beats the $0 that you've been making the past 2 years.
Yep. Is he cash flowing a little bit then with the 2 months or no?
Yeah, for sure. I think he said he makes around $80 per night.
Okay.
Which
That's
isn't
pretty
bad.
sweet then. Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
mean, especially for something he doesn't really have to maintain for 6 hours a day.
Yeah. I think especially like the 2 or 3 months, however long that is, they don't have to clean it. They just like, it's not hotel service where you clean it every day. It's you
Yep.
clean it once at the end. So as long as the people that are renting it out, they don't trash the unit, man, that's money.
Yeah, and you're like 3 months. You're like, oh, I'll clean it once after 3 months. You guys enjoy it until then. No, that's pretty sweet. So yeah, I mean, raising your prices. There is a time to do it, and we have an episode on pricing, I believe, don't we? Double plug.
So
guys,
watch
watch all the episodes.
Hustle Culture episode 11 if you want to head back to that one. Yeah, you were close. It wasn't 13. And then Managing Your Finances episode 5. If you do want to head back to those.
There we go. So yeah, we've talked about it all, ladies and Germans. If there's any Germans out there listening. But yeah, raise your prices. If your demand is too much where it's like, well, I can't take on any more clients, the only reasonable option is to raise the prices so you can. You're going to lose a couple that can't afford the prices. Maybe you have $100 service, you raise it to $200 and you lose half. But you lose half, you're still getting the same amount of money. And then eventually you fill it up with those $200 clients, boom, raise it up to $400. You're going to lose half, but you still have the same amount of money. So that's really the progression of freeing up time to start making the decisions to work on your business.
Yeah, not only are you increasing your revenue, you're also increasing your cash flow, because nothing's changing except you're increasing your prices. So all that's changing is you're getting more cash flow and you're getting more revenue. So
correct. And those are the clients you want to be working with, because the higher end clients that are willing to pay more are always way less stressful. They're willing to just pay for the services. They know the value of them. They're not going to cause you any headaches, where sometimes those lower end clients are really looking for everything they can get out of every dollar they have.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because we had a few clients and they were definitely on the lower end scale of, they've been with us for a while and they were on the lower scale, and our prices don't even go that low anymore. And they expected more than the people that were paying like double what they were paying. It's like, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, we don't
no,
need
sir. Yeah. It's like, we have people that want to come in. We can easily get rid of you and have the clients that are happy to be with us that are paying double what you're paying.
You will not pass go and you will not collect $200.
Exactly.
All right, so we talked a little bit on the transition. That's really the advice I would give on a transition. I'm still working through the transition myself, so I can't say that I know everything, but we're working through it at the same time. We'll give you advice as we go. Some benefits of why you want to do this. So we talked about this. Maybe you're one of those people that doesn't want to work on it, which is totally fine. If you want to work in it, hire those people above you. But if you are one of those people that says, I want to be a business owner, a business entrepreneur, be that figure instead of just a videographer in my case, or, maybe you're just a shipping person that's sending out watch rolls and wallets, that kind of thing. If you want to work on it, there are some benefits. So I would say the first one is monetary gain. It's going to make you more money. It's going to free up your time to scale the business. And with scale comes monetary gain, because if you scale your business from $100,000 to $1 million a year, you're only going to make more money. Do you agree, Tyler?
Somewhat. At the same time, you might still be investing into your business, but at the same time, a lot of what you could be making is you're just kind of getting like stocks or shareholders or whatever. You're not really options, company options. So you're not necessarily getting cash. You're just getting like investments, and then your name's attached to this company. So say with like Jeff Bezos, he owns like 20% of Amazon, which equates to, I don't know what that equates to a lot, like 200 billion or whatever. He might not have 200 billion in cash, but what he can do is he can take out a loan against those against that money, and then that loan's not taxable from the government saying, hey, you made this money. It's like, no, I actually didn't. I just took out the loan. So you take out loan against your assets. So
I
not
agree,
necessarily
but
monetary gain, but yeah, I'm getting a little bit in depth, but usually when you do increase revenue, you increase cash flow, you can end up paying yourself more.
Correct. And that's where I don't know how many Jeff Bezoses are listening to the show, but if we hit our target
At
demo,
least 7.
yeah, if we hit our target demo, that's maybe under $1 million. The people, you are going to be able to free up your time to be able to scale to make money if you want to make more money. If you want to pay yourself a little bit more money, you're going to have to start freeing up some of your time and scaling the company, because like we said, you can only trade so much time for money. Yeah. The other thing is,
I think I'm more on the end of not paying myself. I'm just paying myself the basic necessities. Like I want to get to this point where I just pay myself the basic necessities, invest everything back in, and I scale that to a multi-million-dollar company. And then once I get there, maybe either sell my position, sell the company, or start paying myself or whatever, that's where I think I want to get to.
Yeah. And that's honestly, I think we've had this conversation before. I think that's both what we're looking at is, keep yourself, pay yourself what you need to live, and not live, I don't need to pay myself $10,000 a month because all I would do is waste it. I'd go to Vegas. I would hang out at the golf course, and really, yeah, that stuff's fun. But, that's a long-term goal. 10 years from now, you might have that luxury, but for now, grow something that's sustainable, that opens up opportunities down the road.
Yeah. That was one of the things that we went into business. We're like, if we don't make any money from this, at least we're going to learn a shit ton and we're going to make some great connections. So we got to start working on connections. That's another thing that I mentioned to him, because on the call last night with Ed, he talked about like going to these charities or organizations that you support and actually visiting them. And I mentioned that to Riley, and I'm like, we should reach out to Movember and see if we could like visit their facility and learn a little bit more about the company. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. And the connections are huge, man.
Yeah, they are. Connections are everything, man.
Yeah. And that's where I had the conversation with, his name is Peter. And he was the one that was walking me through this new video consulting agency course that I'm going through. And he said, honestly, dude, all it comes down to and all it boils down to is just caring about other people, caring about what they want and how you can provide them value. And that is going to make you money hand over fist down the road.
Yep, exactly. And if you want to learn about networking, check out our last episode. Episode 20.
Triple plug. I'm just going to label this episode plug. Just the plug episode. A couple more benefits to switching more to working on the business. If you are one of those people that wants to build a team, you want to manage a team, you really want to see how you can make them mesh and work on projects together, that's something that you're going to have to do. If you want to work on the business, you're going to have to start building a team that's doing these tasks, because you can't do all the tasks yourself. So if you're one of those people that wants to build a team, I personally want to build a team that's working under me, so I don't have to do a lot of that work. That's one way. That's one direction I'm moving towards. Anything touch on that before I go into the last benefit, Tyler?
No, I think at the same time, when you are building a team, I think it's cool to build a team that shares the same value and same mission as you, and you can also help them grow, because you're basically providing for them, their family, whatever their basic necessities, and they come to you to collect their paycheck, and that's how they survive. So I think it's them seeing your vision, getting behind it, and sticking with you to build something. So I think that's pretty cool.
One thing that I've thought for years about doing once I hire my first person is I want to sit down with that person and figure out, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to get out of this position? And really help them get to the next level, whatever that might be. If they are like, I need 2 years here and then I want to go off and start my own thing, awesome. Then I want to help them in that 2 years rather than just try to keep them for 15. So that's one thing I've been thinking about hiring. It's like, eventually I want to sit down and say, how can we really help these new hires?
Nice. Yeah. That's what you got to do.
The last one I want to touch on, brand perception. If you do have a bigger team and you're scaling and you have this, I guess it's really based on team, but if you have this team, you're scaling, your revenue's going up, maybe you get an office space, whatever it might be, your brand perception is going to be so much better. People are going to look at you as more of a legitimized business. They're working on these big projects. I show up, 5 people come with, I'm in meetings. There's couple people in every meeting, whatever it might be. You're throwing emails around, you're throwing it over. Okay, I'm going to push you over to the producer. They're going to kind of walk you through that process. So I think the brand perception helps a ton. Whether that's really beneficial or not, if you think you need that, that's up for debate. But I do think having a team under you allows you to look a little bit more professional and people trust you a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
And really, it's just a trust factor. If I come in there and I say, I want $50,000 and it's just me, they're like, okay, we're paying this one dude $50,000. But if I say, it's $50,000 and they say, why? And it's, well, I have people that work under me. I have to make sure they're paid for their services. They're helping out. You get a full team behind it. There's an ad side, whatever it might be. Having that team allows you to justify a little bit of what you're doing.
I feel like this contradicts the video that you just sent me the other day.
Which video is that?
About not saying why you charge what you charge. Or ask for.
That's the premise for this behind the scenes podcast. You pretty much just say, well, it is what it is. I have overhead. People.
That's what we charge.
Yeah,
we charge $50,000 because of the value that we provide.
Yep. And that's where, those are why it is, because obviously you have expenses going into it. But other than that, Tyler, any business idea, or not business ideas, but any benefits that you kind of want to touch on before we get into this week's business idea?
Not really. I think it's just figuring out what you enjoy doing, and like if you enjoy working in your business, hire for on, and if you enjoy working on your business, hire for in the business and scale your business up. Maybe you don't even want to scale. Maybe you just want to stay a one-man shop and just continue working in and on, and maybe you're happy clearing maybe $200,000 a year, just doing your thing and having a good time, and you enjoy what you do. So do what you like. Yeah.
Reverse engineer to what your goals are. What do you want to happen, and work from there. A book I read was Company of One, and it talked about, the whole book is talking about there's no problem with keeping your business small. Not everyone needs to grow a $50 million business. So definitely something to look at, figure out what your priorities are, your goals, and then work from there.
Yeah.
Tyler, business idea of the week. It is your turn. What is your business idea?
So I think this might play into your business a little bit. It was just, my buddy had his birthday the other week, and it just got me thinking, and maybe it's like, make your day a movie. And basically what you would do is, when it's your birthday, you could hire a videographer. They'll come along with you for the day, for the night, and they just make your birthday into a movie, and then you can watch it back. And I was just thinking about it because he had a suite, and we was going to the club, and I think it would just be really cool to like turn it into like some, maybe not some, was it Project
What's
X? That movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it into maybe not to that extent, but I think just maybe if you're going out, you're having friends or whatever, it's just turning your birthday into a movie.
I like that idea, mainly because I've seen a thing that said, how much money would you pay to get a video of all of the funniest times you've had together with your friends? So that's maybe a premise, Imagine you do this, make your day a movie for 10 years on your birthday, and then you can look back at your birthday for 10 years.
The transformation over the years, and it slowly becomes like you're just staying in for the night and just get some pizza or something.
It's like, man, this guy's birthday sucks.
Playing some Catan later on, playing some cards.
I play chess. I play both sides of the board. So rotating, it's on a turntable, and then knight to e5. But yeah, no, I like that. I think the market for it is, it's probably a higher end market. I don't know who's going to pay, if you got to pay $1,500 for a video that day, but I guess you'd have to, if you could figure out a way, and maybe it doesn't have to be super high end. Maybe it's just like a vlog style YouTube sort of video.
Yeah, I feel like the target audience would probably be people that are maybe like trust fund babies, or like they're pretty wealthy. Maybe they struck gold early in their career. Now they're millionaires and they go to Vegas for their birthday, or they go to LA, or they go to New York and they just live it up. They go to the bars, they go to strip clubs, they go to all these different places, and they just spend money like there's no
Yeah.
tomorrow. And they don't care about paying $10,000 for you to come during that day and film their whole birthday so they can watch it back when they're blackout drunk.
I think you could even do this on different occasions. It doesn't just have to be a birthday, because I go on one friend trip every year. I think it'd be sick if every year we hired someone to come with us on this trip. And then it's like, okay, you document the 7 days, and then maybe you do a couple of quick interviews here and there, like run and gun, like, all right, what are you guys doing today? And it's almost like a mini documentary. Like, hey, here's a 30 minute video of your guys' trip this year.
So this is an idea, or something that I want to get to eventually, is with our fantasy football league, is I want to fly us out to, say, a resort in Mexico, or get an Airbnb or something. And then it's just like a whole weekend where just everyone in the league is there. And then we hire a videographer to come along with us and video it the whole time. And, it's just going to be a whole little thing. I don't know. I thought that would be really cool.
I think we should do it on the draft. Every year we go do the
draft. Yeah, I know.
draft.
That's what I was saying.
Kind of like the
league.
I
want it. Yeah, I want to get to the point where like I'm rich enough and be like, all right, boys, I'm paying for everything. You just got to show up.
That's a good point. We're getting off top of the business, whatever. Good idea. I like the idea. Let's move on. Anyways, I like the idea of being rich enough to just pay for other people to do shit that can't.
Yeah.
Like I would love to just be like, boys, friend trips on me. We're going to Florida and we got $10,000 club. And they're like, really?
Let's go to Miami.
Yeah. If I'm broke one day though, I'm gonna be calling in this favor.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll be like, start sharing my Facebook post, damn it.
Like it. Just like it.
I just paid for your whole flight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like that idea of having things documented, because that's a big thing. Is I want to be able to, and especially this podcast we talked about when we were starting, it's going to be cool to look back on in 10 years and be like, wow, we were really ahead of the game, or wow, we were freaking idiots. I can't believe we were discussing that strategy, whatever it is. So
right.
If you could do that. Yeah, if you can do that in every facet of your life, friend trips, and then maybe you have a birthday, and then maybe you do it for a Halloween weekend, whatever it might be. I do like that idea.
I think so this probably isn't like a groundbreaking idea. What I feel like is there's a lot of these influencers that are basically already doing it. They have some camera guy following them around. Like you'll look at, I don't know, first name that comes to my mind is Bryce
D-Rock.
Hall.
D-Rock was the first one.
Yeah, he kind of revolutionized it, and Gary Vee became that influencer. But I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind was this video I saw of, I don't know, it was Bryce Hall. And there's just like, I don't know if it was like paparazzi or it was like someone that he actually hired, but I thought it was someone, I don't know, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was paparazzi. I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I had someone that I could film my day-to-day stuff with, and then just almost start a YouTube channel where it's all that kind of stuff. And even if no one watches
season 1.
Yeah, it's like
no, we're on
Creative
season
Media, and it Creative Media 2023, and then there's 50 some videos in there or whatever it is. That's
one
that's
vlog per day. So 365 episodes per season.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's the task for the first hire. And that's what I'm excited about. A first hire is I'm going to throw them to the wolves.
Yeah. See what they can do.
Be like, hey, let's film some shit. Let's do it all and see what we can do.
I love it.
All right. Anything we want to touch on before we head out of here, Tyler?
I'm just going to throw this quote in here because I said it at the beginning.
Success
usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. Maybe we should end every podcast with a quote.
Oh, I like that. Let's add that to it.
Cool. All right.
Here's what we'll start doing. I'll read the outro, and then you read the quote at the very end, and then it cuts after that. All right, guys, you ready for this? Episode 21, we're implementing
Do I reread it? Do I reread this?
Yeah, we'll pretend you didn't read that first one. They heard it, but they're going to
Okay.
hear it again. That's episode 21 of the Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, you can email us at the midnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. Wow, the fat lips getting in my way. If you found value in this content or found this entertaining, share this with a friend or post it on your story. If you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and a review on wherever you're listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of the Midnight Entrepreneur.
Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it.